Hi guys, Amy here. Gonna do a little Christmas swag and show you guys how to use and how to apply your stones and bullion beads and how to use your gem gel and your new tools. So this was quite the bougie swag. I hope everybody loves it. I already started with prepping my tips and I put some stamps on just to make it more festive in the background. But we're gonna start pretty simple. We're gonna start just with our little micro crystals, and these are just mini crushed crystals, and it's also got a mix of some glass bullion beads in there. I love this color the most just because you can see your designs through it, you can do ombres underneath it, you can I just like that you can see the color through it, so it really goes with any color. But this is available in a ton of different colors, so we're gonna start with this. And actually, before we get started, let's go over everything that was in your swag bags so that you know you have received everything. So first, your tray of goodies here, your tray of stones. 12 different stones, lots of festive colors, lots of different sizes. And then we have our wheel of bullion beads, which is all 3 colors, and each one of them is in different sizes. We'll be using those for our clusters and also to complete our little halo around the cuticle. Just makes your stones look really finished. And then you've got your gem gel, which this stuff is amazing. Out of anything that I've ever used to apply my crystals, probably this right here is my favorite, and I'll tell you why. First, it's a hybrid blend of an adhesive and a UV gel, so it cures when you want it to. So you have all the time in the world to move your stones around to make sure everything is in place, and then you can cure it. It's thick enough that nothing moves unless you move it. So that's nice that your stones aren't like sliding around as you're trying to put your design together. Another reason why I love this stuff is it's soakable. So your larger stones, once you take them off the nail, you can soak them in acetone and keep your stones. And the other reason is it cures tack-free, which is amazing, because when you're doing those big clusters or even using these micro crystals and pouring this over top, if you're using a product that is not tack-free, even if you wipe it clean with your alcohol, there's still going to be a little bit of tackiness to it, areas that you can't really reach. So those are going to attract dust and dirt, and over time it's going to make your clusters and your micro crystals look a little dirty or just a little shaded, not as bright as it could be. So this is super clear, super shiny, and it just saves a lot of steps for you. And we've been using this in the salon now for a couple months, and our stones do not come off. We guarantee our work. We guarantee our stones for 2 weeks. We have clients that come in with full pave nails that just want to fill the stones back by the cuticle because the rest of the stones still look so good. So again, we use primarily Swarovski stones in the salon, and all of your stones in your kit are Swarovski. The only ones that are not are your unfoiled, which are these 2. I went with an unfoiled because I like the depth of them for my clusters. So these 2 are a glass crystal, but they are not Swarovski. The rest of your stones are all Swarovski. These micro crystals also are glass, but everything else in your kit there is Swarovski, because really that's the way to go. They stay shinier. They will hold up better over time. The backing on your Swarovski stones are made to really be durable and not allow the stones to pop out of them. So if you're using Swarovski, obviously it's a very, very expensive stone, but clients are also, they associate Swarovski with luxury, so they will pay for it. Everybody knows who Swarovski is, and I know my clients, when they see it, they know that they're getting a good quality stone on their nail. So don't be afraid to charge for it. At the end, or maybe as we do each design, I can tell you guys how we charge for it and what we charge for each design. The best thing to do really is to swatch a few of these, put them out, let your clients see them, and let them feel how wearable these stones really are, especially when they're set into the gem gel. It really just rounds out any sharpness, so they're really comfortable to wear. Okay. Also, I hope by the end of the day today, I will have our price chart up on the website so you guys can download that, print it out, put a few swatches up there, and then you can put some pricing up so your clients can see it. It's a nice guideline anyway. Even if you wanted to charge a little more or a little less, it's a great guide. And you've got your new tool, which this is fabulous. It's got your wax picker on one end and your pointy other end, which is great to move the stones around or even to pick up some of the gel when you need it. So you've got your tool. And of course it has crystals in the center because we have to be bougie, right? And then last it had, or I think that was everything. Oh no, you've also got your little charm tool. So these charms, anybody that's been doing nails for a long time, I remember these charms. These charms go way back. So they're starting to come back out popular again. And just to let you know, these are reverse threaded. So if you're sitting here trying to open this the right way, it's not going to open. They're reverse threaded, and they do that because when you're drilling the hole into the nail, you don't want to undo the tool. So there you go. That's on there. And again, threaded the reverse way, just to let you guys know. This is loose on the end, just so when we're using pressure, it's not unthreading the drill. It just makes it more comfortable for you. These bits are available for your e-file, but I just didn't know if everybody had an e-file, so I figured this was the safer way to go and give you guys these. All right, so let's get started. So we're gonna take this one here and we're gonna pour our micro crystals right into this. Now I did some stamping, so I've got my color, I did my outshine, undercured, put my stamp on, and now I can go right over this with gem gel. And you can just use any gel brush. And when you go in to pick up your gem gel, just go in and kind of just scoop up and grab a nice dollop of it. And you can see it doesn't really move. It'll smooth out if there's ridges in it when you apply it, but it's not really gonna run from you, which is really nice. So when you're applying it, you don't wanna do it too thin. If it's too thin, it's really not going to grab onto the stones. You want it to kind of be thick enough that when you pour the stones in, the stones will kind of settle into it. So you guys saw about how much I grabbed, and I'm just kind of working this down the nail. And like I said, if there's any ridges or anything, they will work themselves out. And just be careful that you are getting the edges, because wherever this gem gel is where your stones are gonna set. If you don't, like right here on my edge where I'm missing some, once I pour my stones on, I'm gonna realize I don't have any stones on that corner. So use the line of light and really just roll it. Make sure that you've pulled it onto your sidewalls too, and all the way down the free edge. Okay, so now once that's on, we are going to take our little micro crystals. And like I said, this is like 1 millimeter stones with a point back. They are iridescent, and there's also a mix of some bullion beads in there. So what I'm going to do is just take this little plasticky piece of paper. I'm gonna put this right in here. These stones are jumpers, so use like either a paper towel or something, and use your tray that your stones came in just to capture everything that falls. And what we're doing is just pouring these stones right on here. And actually, this is a really cool look with the candy cane underneath. I love it. So now once you've done that, you're going to tap the finger and just get anything off that's not stuck to the gem gel. And then you can either take like an orange wood stick. I just use my finger and I just press up on the sides. just because I don't want any of the stones coming off of the sidewall, because that's where you're going to feel a lot of the texture and your clients aren't really going to like that. So same with the other side. I'm just using my finger and just kind of either wiping off the stones that are sitting on the edges or pushing up a little bit, just so they're, that way, I mean, nails hit things. I mean, clients are hitting things all the times with their nails. You want kind of the edges to still be the nail and not the stones, because if they're hitting the stones, that's when they're going to start to come loose. So now, once you've pulled it up away from the free edge, what you're going to do is just kind of roll, and anything that I see in the profile of the nail that's sticking up too high, like maybe a point, one of those little tiny point backs are sticking up, I'm just again going to take my finger and press. And this is just going to lay everything flatter. And usually if you see something that is really high up when you're doing the profile, it's usually a stone sitting on top of a stone. So you just kind of want to press those in there. I'm not feeling any gem gel on my finger because it's down lower. It's not coming like all the way up to the top of the stones. If you are doing this and you're getting gel on your finger, you've got too much gem gel on there. So again, I'm just rolling because I know my clients, and if there is too much texture, they're not going to like it, or they're going to end up picking it off, which that's always fun. So once you're happy, you can go ahead and cure this, and this is going to, your gem gel is a 30-second cure, so you're just going to want to just secure those in place. And then I'm going to take, this is just like a skinny art brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to just take a little bit of the gem gel, get a nice string of it on my art brush, and I am just going to create a little barrier around the edges, and I'm going to kind of frame. It's almost like a bumper. I mean, you don't need a ton of it, but it's these little steps that you're going to take that is going to ensure that the stones stay on. I always say, you know, we spend so much money purchasing these stones and time learning how to do it, time putting them on. Just take the extra few steps, few extra seconds here to make sure that they're put on and kind of encased right, so that your clients get good durability and that they want them again and they want to pay you to put them on again. So you can even do this up around the cuticle area, because once those stones grow out, you don't want that cuticle area to be rough. So again, just a bumper around the edges. And last, just a little as a security net, I just go and string, and it just kind of melts right in between, so it's nothing that you can see. So we're going to cure this, and this is when you want to make sure your client goes in for that full 30 seconds. And that is how you apply your micro crystals or crushed crystals. Pixie, same thing. And I am just going to take this now and pour this all back in. You want to obviously keep as much of it as possible. All right, so next what we're going to do is on your card, these here are what we call cuticle halos, and it's a very easy, simple design to give your clients, especially around the holidays. It's just very wearable, and sometimes getting clients into doing the stones is kind of difficult, so this is a nice way to ease them into that art. So what I'm going to do is I've already gel polished this nail, and I want to wipe off the sticky layer, and I'm just going to run a buffer over it. Anytime I know that I'm doing stones, I know sometimes it's an afterthought after you've already finished the nails, but anytime I know that I'm doing them, I'm not going to put top coat on, because I want to top coat at the very end. So I'm just running a buffer over this just so that gem gel adheres really well. not applying too much pressure because obviously I don't want to take too much color off. So we've got our basic 2 coats of red gel polish, and then wipe the gel or the sticky layer, and then we went right into buffing. And now we're going to take our gem gel, and I'm going to get a nice dollop of it on my art brush, and I'm just going to kind of line this right around the cuticle. You guys can see what I did. I'm going to do that again just to get kind of a double line of it, so it's a little bit thicker, because again, you want this gel to kind of come up around and in between the stones. It's going to help last. It's going to help with durability. So we've got our gem gel on there. So with your stones, you've got different sizes of your flat backs. We're going to take a big red one, and then in your green ones, we started running out of space. So in your green, there's 2 different sizes in here, and it's an SS5 and an SS7. And I love this green for Christmas. It's a really nice bright green. I love the emerald too, but the fern is just a little bit brighter, a little bit more Christmassy, I think. So we're gonna take those, and then your tiny little SS3 flat backs. These are little tiny babies. So we're gonna take those. So to do this design, you want different sizes of stones. So we're gonna take the large red first, and we're gonna place this right in the center. And once you get it where you want it, just give it a little press and you'll see the gem gel kind of come up around it. And then we're gonna take 2 green ones. I can open this jar. And I'm going to take the larger of the 2. You can see there's different sizes in there. And we're going to grab 1 for this side and then 1 for this side. And again, I love that I can just kind of move these around until I get a nice fit. And you want this tucked up close to the cuticle area. So don't go far enough down that you're seeing the gel polish line at the cuticle. You want this right tight back there. And then last, we're going to take these tiny little babies and we are going to put these at the end. Such a festive, fun, but really classy design. And this can be done obviously with any color stones. We do a ton of these little cuticle halos. And last, just to give it a more jeweled look, we're going to take some of the bullion beads. I will choose the color according to like what my client's wearing. If she's got silver rings on, I use the silver. Or if she wears a lot of gold, I'm going to take the gold. So we're going to use the gold. And I'm going to go for like the second to smallest size. And the best way to work with these guys is I use the brush that I used to pick up the gem gel. And I am just going to go in there and grab a few. And kind of use my table towel. I'll just kind of wipe these on here. And I'll just pick them up and lay them down with my brush. Obviously, you don't want to do this with your crystals because you don't want to get the gel on top of the crystals. It'll kind of ruin the shine of them. But your bullion beads, these are round and there's no faucets in them. So pick them up with your brush. It's the easiest way to do it. If I try to do it with the rhinestone tool, I lose them because they're so small. And because that gem gel is still wet, it's just letting me put these wherever I want them and kind of moving my stones around so that they're snug up against each other. Clearly I should have added some magnifying glasses into the swag this month. And now we're going to cure. And you can cure that for the full 30 seconds. And once that's cured, we're going to take our top coat. I'm just using Outshine right now. We're going to take our top coat, and this is why I wait to top coat till the very end. You're just going to take that top coat and just kind of get right behind a nice bulb of it and just press it up to the stones. Don't go over your stones, just pressing it right up to them. And that way they are encased. Well, I shouldn't say encased, but they are really embedded into not only the gem gel, but they're embedded into your top coat also, which is going to do nothing but make them more durable and less textured when your clients feel it. Also, what I'll do is take a little dollop of top coat. I'm going to put it right on my table towel. And then I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to do the same thing back around the cuticle area. Being careful to not go over the stones, just right up to them. And then it's kind of pulled at the end, so I'm just pulling that. And then we're going to cure. So these towels that I'm using, I'm sure I've told you all about them a million times, but these are the Grams Ultra. I think it's Ultra. Yeah, Gram Ultra. And they have lint-free tops, which are great to work with acrylic and all that. And then I love using the backside when I'm working with gel or doing things like this where I need to put a dollop of Outshine on there, or if you're painting and don't want to ruin one of your palettes, these are great because you're just throwing it away afterwards. All right, so full 60 seconds, and there's our cuticle halo. Beautiful. Love it. All right, so 2 down, 3 to go. So next what we're gonna do is, this is a stamped nail that we did. White gel polish, red stamp on top with our snowflakes, and I just want to put a little dollop of gem gel right in the center of the snowflakes, and I'm gonna put some green in there. So what we're gonna do is take our same brush that we were using, and you're gonna grab a dollop of your gem gel, and you're just going to place it right in the center of those snowflakes. And I'm going to be using the smallest green ones. So just imagine when you're putting this on what size stone you're using. If you're using a larger one, obviously you need a little bit more gel. If we look this way, you guys can see maybe how much I'm putting on there. But because we're using the smaller ones, I don't need too much. You can see the dollop that I'm using right now. And I'm just pressing it down and just kind of twirling to break the... I'm going to put a little bit more on this one. Because standalone stones like this are the ones that usually don't hold up. But with this gem gel, you're going to notice that even these kind of designs are going to hold up really well. So the smallest green, we'll just press it on there. And once you get it where you want it, do the little press down, and you'll see the gem gel kind of come up around it and encase it. So again, we're going to press it right on there. Like so. Perfect. And we're going to cure this. And just remember, your flat backs are just that. They're flat on the back. Your nail, there's nothing on your nails that are flat. So there's always going to be that little edge. So if you're using something that's really thin to hold these down, like a top coat, it's never gonna work. You need something that's going to fill in and make the bottom of that flat back kind of rounded and fit to the nail. So once that cures for 30 seconds, we are going to take our top coat again, and we're gonna secure those in just like we did with our others. So we're gonna take and just butt it right up to the stones. Being careful not to go on top of the stone. And I'm just kind of skirting the stones here, just going right up to them. And because now if you look in the line of light, your line of light kind of looks wobbly, that's okay. Just give it a second and it will self-level out. So don't go immediately into the light. Just give it about 5 seconds, and you can see our line of light is definitely, it's fixing itself. So once you're happy with that, we're gonna cure that, and since it's outshine, it's a full 60-second cure. Now, once that's curing, we're gonna do our big cluster. So we'll use this nail right here. And again, I have gel polish on it. This one I used the white on from Accents, so it has a shiny finish. I'm just gonna take my buffer and I'm just gonna etch this. So now we've got a nice matte finish. And we're gonna take a gel brush. Actually, before I even put the gem gel on there, what I like to do is kind of lay out my stones, because sometimes I get a little ahead of myself, and then it takes me a minute to find the stones that I want to work with. So let's just grab we're going to use this guy. We're going to use this nice pear-shaped ruby. Here, let me do this in the camera. So we've got the large emerald, the larger of the ruby, pear-shaped. And there's 2 different sizes of pears in here. So smaller ones for smaller nails or smaller clusters. And then we're going to take this, which is also a chaton, and that is an AB, which the sparkle on that is amazing. So I just kind of work them out. I love to do like a pear-shaped or an oval shaped with 2 rounded stones, one larger, one smaller. And I'll even put the larger stone at the tapered end of the pear, just so that it all fits well together. Perfect. And smaller point backs are great too for fillers, but you can also use your flat backs for fillers. So I will probably keep these green ones out in case I need a filler. And I've got some red ones and my tiny little SS3s. So I'm gonna keep with my gold theme, and I'm gonna keep this open for some gold bullion beads too. Now we're gonna go in with our gem gel. You're gonna grab a nice dollop. And I'm gonna keep this nice tight up in the corner, and you can see how much we put on there. Okay, next we're going to pick up our stones and we're going to lay it right into the gel. So number 1, number 2, and number 3. And again, I love this because look at, you can just take all the time you need to press these together. So it's nice and rounded. And you know, I was not a fan of clusters because I was like, really, how wearable is this? I wore one for 3 weeks and loved it. I will definitely wear them again. I was surprised at how much I loved it. And I was also surprised at how wearable it really was and how many compliments I got on it. So your clients aren't going to just jump in and be like, oh yeah, put a huge cluster on my nail. But if you're wearing them, they will be more likely to want to try it. So we're going to go in and grab a couple of these really large beads. And I'm going to just take this and drop it right in the center, just to give it a little bit finished, more finished look. Same with your sides. You can put them all into your sides. Come on. Oh. I did tell you needed like lots of patience for this too, right? That I did not pack in your swag. Come on. If you can't pick up the larger beads, just put a little bit more gem gel on your brush, and that will help. As I'm doing this, my cluster kind of moved over. So again, just kind of put it back where you want it. But I love the look of the beads in it also. It just gives it a really pretty, ornate look. And then before your client goes into cure, just make sure it's where you want it. Sometimes the weight of the stones will move that gem gel as you're trying to, you know, put in all your fillers. And if there's a lot of gel that came out on one side, just kind of wipe it. We still have to top coat this, so it's all going to blend just fine. So that's why it's nice to keep an art brush on your station for this reason. So I'm going to go ahead and cure this. This is when my client goes in the light with a big cluster like this, I tell her, I really need you to go in and kind of move your fingers around so that the light reflects in there and cures everything really well. So I'm just in here moving this just kind of side to side so that it gets all up in there. And while that's curing, this is our finished snowflakes. Okay, so we can leave this as is, or if you want to make it a little bit more ornate, that's fine too. We can take a little bit more gem gel, go up around the edges, and add a few more stones. You don't have to. I love the simplicity like this, but I also love to add more sparkle, you know? And I would just grab a few random pieces, a few flatbacks. We could put, we'll actually put this big one. Let's put a little gel right here. And we're gonna go in and cure that. Okay, so now that this is all cured, we're gonna do the same thing we did earlier, and we're gonna take our top coat. We're gonna go right up to the stones. And again, put a little dollop on your table towel. Use that small little art brush that you were working with and get it up around the cuticle area too. Important, these little steps are, again, what's going to keep these stones lasting and looking good. Sometimes I feel like I overdo it with the top coat, so just pull some of it off so that it doesn't pool at the end. And we're going to go ahead and cure this. And then there's one last step that we're going to do to make that nail a little bit more wearable. Okay, so this has cured. We are now going back into the gem gel. Again, getting a nice string. And I am just going around these stones. Just a very thin little string, just on the very edges. Again, we're framing. And what this is doing is softening the edges of the stones so that A, they don't get caught on anything and and damage your cluster. And B, so that when your client feels them, they don't get stuck in her hair. Again, just making it very wearable. Be careful that you're not getting this on the facets of the stone. Just the edges, and we're framing it. And go ahead and cure for 30 seconds. And then you'll be able to feel when that comes out how soft. Well, clearly you can't feel that one, but when you do it, you'll be able to feel how soft and wearable those really are. All right, the last nail that we're gonna do is our charms. So these are super easy to do. In your jar with your pendant charms, there are some jump rings. Different sizes and different colors, just depends on the size nail that you're using, the color that your client wears. And the best way to do this is grab a pair of tweezers or nippers or whatever you have on your station. You're gonna grab one of the jump rings and one of the pendants. I'm gonna use one of these gunmetal, if I can get it out of there. There we go. And we're gonna grab one of the pendants, which these are also Swarovski. And you can tell by the color and the shine to them, they're just beautiful. So I would say probably the best tool to use is, I grab for my tweezers just because it holds, I mean, they hold really well. And then I just use my nail. So find the seam to the jump ring and just bend it open. You don't want to open your jump rings like this way because you'll never get it put back together right. So you almost want to just twist it. So we're opening it this way. Hopefully everybody can see that because I know it's tiny. And then you're gonna take your charm, either with a pair of tweezers or just grab it with your hand. And you're gonna thread your jump ring through the hole in your charm. Like so. Now keep in mind, this is a smaller jump ring, so I've got to go pretty far to the edge of the nail. So I've got to go all the way out here. If you wanted it in closer, obviously you're just going to have to use a larger jump ring. So keep all of this in mind when you're planning out this, this design or this charm. we're gonna grab our tool, and if I was the client, I would have my client put her hand down like this so you can use pressure, and then you would just go in and drill on the free edge like so. So let's say this is my client's nail. We're having her turn this way, and I want it on this side. So I'm gonna go close to the edge here and just use pressure. And that's why the back of this drill spins, so that you can use pressure and drill right through. Okay, so you can see this goes right through. And then you can even go through the top. And that's how you get the hole in the nail. The jump rings are fairly thin, so they will fit through. And then when you go to close it, it's a little bit easier because now you just have to take your tweezers and squeeze these together. So once you've got that as tight as you're going to get it, which is about right here, I'm going to take a dollop of my gem gel. Now when you do this, you want to be careful that you're not going to get the gel on the nail or the stone. So pull the stone all the way away and just make sure that you're only working with the tiny little opening of that jump ring, which I feel like I can probably get this closed a little bit tighter. I'm going to try that first. There we go. And then I'm going to just put a dollop of gem gel right where that tiny little opening is, so that A, it doesn't get caught on their hair, it doesn't rip open. So grab a dollop. You're going to place it right at that opening. And make sure that you're just creating a nice seam between the edges of the jump ring, just to keep it closed. We're going to go ahead and cure this. Now, obviously, if this is on a client, your angles are going to be a little bit different, but you're still going to hold the client's finger and you're going to guide her into the light so that the charm doesn't fall on top of that gem gel, because then it's not really going to be a floating charm. It's going to look a little stiff. And once she's been in there for about 10 to 15 seconds, you can let her hand go and you can kind of let her move it and pivot a little bit so that it cures from all different angles. And then you've got your charm, which is so cute. So you can do that. I usually wear them on the ring fingers or the pinkies, and you can put 2 or 3 charms on there. Adorable. There we go. So I think that was our last nail. So I mentioned earlier too about your gem gel being soakable, which is really nice because these larger stones are not cheap. They're expensive stones. So when your client comes back in and she's already paid $20 for a cluster, you can just kind of, what I do is I take a pair of nippers, and to remove this, I will just go up in here and just kind of pinch until I break through the top coat, and then a good pinch and the whole cluster will come off together. If you're having a hard time, you can put some acetone on cotton, just rest it on top, wait about 5 minutes, and then do the same thing I was talking about, just pinching underneath it. The whole cluster will end up coming off together. Throw it in a little dish with some acetone and it'll melt all the glue off. So you'll have these stones to reuse, which is really nice. And they're gonna look brand new. Swarovski is made to withstand chemicals and just keep their shine. They won't scratch, so they'll look brand new. I also mentioned about pricing. I am going to try to get that price guide up for you as soon as possible on the website. And in the meantime, what we usually charge, clusters range from $15 to $20 a nail, depending on the stones they use, depending on the size of it, and also depending on the time that it takes you to put it on. For quick, easy little designs like this one, it starts at $5, and I would do 2 of these for $5. If they wanted to do it on every single nail, I would charge an extra $10. It's only really 2 to 3 stones per finger. So again, a full set of that, $10, 2 nails, I would charge $5. For a full pixie or crushed crystal nail, we charge $10. There are a bunch of different products out there for crushed crystals, micro crystals. There's the new pixie bubble. They're all different in pricing. If you're paying more, then you should be charging more. If I'm just using these iridescent crushed crystals, I'm charging $10 per nail. If I'm breaking out a bottle of Swarovski bubble or Swarovski pixie, then I'm going to charge $15 per nail. Your clusters, I would charge $5 per nail. And if they wanted it on like an entire set of nails, I would probably charge $20 for the entire full set. And then for your charms, I would start your charms at $7 per charm. And you could probably do 2 for $10 if they wanted 1 on each finger. So that's just to give you an idea of what we are charging for these. Again, you guys can charge whatever you want, more or less, but keep in mind the stones are expensive, the glue is expensive, and your time is expensive. So make sure you're charging what you're worth, especially through the holidays. Take advantage. This is the time that your clients are going to experiment a little bit more and go with a little bit more art and stones and sparkle with Christmas parties and such. So I hope you guys have an awesome holiday. If you have any questions about any of the techniques or the products that were in your swag or that you learned in this video, please reach out, and Merry Christmas to you all.